Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Interstigation. In today's episode of Interstigation, we will go over the cosine derivative using our sine derivative. As always, we will start with a daily problem, and this is a rather simple one using what we have got yesterday, which is the sine derivative. It wants us to calculate the derivative with respect of x of sine of x squared. If we have that, then let's see how can we differentiate this expression. Pause the video if you want to try and proceed the video when you're ready. And this one we will use the fact that sine of x, the derivative of sine of x, is equal to cosine of x, and that we can use the chain rule on top of that. So what we have over here, so the derivative with respect of x of sine of x squared is actually equal to the chain rule. So basically the thing without the derivative, so that derivative, so that's cosine of x squared times the x squared derivative. And we know that using the power rule that x squared derivative is simply equal to 2x. So our final answer is just equal to 2x cosine x squared. And that's a pretty easy exercise to get us started, warmed up. We will go over the cosine derivative, which is pretty easy, honestly. It's kind of just a reverse sine derivative because we have this and we might think that this kind of have a connection of it, and yes, it does. So what we have over here is we want to find the derivative of cosine of x, and that is actually kind of simple. If we think about the graph of sine of x and cosine of x, let's say we have a graph over here. So let's say this graph depicts sine of x. So something like this. And this graph depicts cosine of x. So something like this. And if we shift the cosine of x by, let's say, 1/2 of pi, then we can get the exact function. So if we shift it in either direction, because they repeat every 2 pi. So if we have over here would just be equal to the derivative with respect of x of this sine of x plus 1/2 of pi. And that we can use the chain rule to do that because we know what sine of x is. So that's just cosine of this x plus pi over 2 times we need the derivative with respect of x of this. But we know that using the constant rule, this part is just equal to 0, and that x, so the derivative of x, is just equal to 1. So this part is gone completely. So the derivative of cosine of x is just cosine of x plus pi over 2. And that is just equal to negative sine of x. If you look at our graph over here, you can see that as well. If we shift the other way, then we can just have, let's try to depict the other way. So have something like this. So something like this. And if we shift the other way, then we can see that it is exactly the opposite. So something like this. Which is exactly the opposite as sine of x, and if we do a negative of that, that also works. And also intuitive feel about it, if you think about this, let's say if we have a slope Here, this is the original cosine of x. If we have this is just 0. If we have, let's say, this is -1. If we have, let's say, this, then this is 1. They all perfectly fit in our sine graph, the opposite of sine graph. So we have the derivative of cosine of x is negative sine of x. Thank you for watching this episode of Investigation, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.